that's something that I've noticed is just that it really, this is a way, this conversation, this Brighter Together is a way for Lighthouse to get its name out there. It's a way for schools to talk about the amazing things that they're doing.
Sure.
And used properly, it's advertisement.
That's exactly
Got the
right.
label, we've got the, the logo, but we've also give, and I think most people know, but we give everything that all of these files, everything that we do here goes back to the schools. And
Right.
because we want you guys also to have the opportunity to use it, because you do have to
That's
market.
right.
You do have to talk about, we do have to talk about the different, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So,
That's right.
So having an opportunity to come and to talk with schools and to use this platform in a way that supports schools, put your money where your mouth is, because these are the people that are the paycheck and the beginning, the middle, and the end of what we do as a company, like
Right. That's right.
Lighthouse Therapy. So,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
love that. I
You're
love that we
exactly.
can do it.
No, you're exactly right. And I tell folks all the time, regardless of what you think, education is a business and it's a people business. We're in
Yes,
the business
people.
of people. And so what we're trying to do is to not tell somebody you have to send your kid to our district. What we're saying is we want you to. We would love for you to, because here's why. Well, first and foremost, we love your kids, and we're going to love on your kids just like their own. But here's other things that we've got that we can offer as well. And hopefully, another saying is actions speak louder than words, and so they can see that, they can feel that. We want them to, when they walk into our school, and when they walk into a school or a classroom or whatever it may be, that they don't have to hear somebody tell them it's a great school. They just know it. They feel it. They can sense it. They see smiles on kids' faces. They see smiles on teachers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, the folks that are on the front desk. So you just know it. And
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Scott Bolin. Scott is the Director of Pupil Personnel at Garrett County Schools in Lancaster, Kentucky. Scott,
Yes, ma'am.
welcome to the show.
hey, thank you, Miss Janet. I appreciate it, and thank you for that nice introduction. I appreciate that as well.
Awesome. Well, Scott, tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming the Director of Pupil Personnel, and a little bit about Garrett.
So a little bit first about Garrett County. We're a small rural county, school district just south of Lexington, Kentucky, about 30 minutes dead south. We have about 2,500 students. We have one high school, one middle school, and 3 elementaries. Then I'll feed that into me. One of the things about myself is I've been here forever. So I'm 49 years old, and I went to school here from kindergarten all the way till I graduated, went away for college, didn't go too far, went to Eastern Kentucky University, and then came back, and I've just completed my 25th year in education. So I was a business teacher,
Amazing.
assistant principal, elementary at a high school. I was an elementary principal, and then I've been the director of pupil personnel now. I just finished my 5th year as doing that.
So to be a pupil personnel, so is this special education, or what all does your job entail?
So sure, yes. So that's one of the great things about being in a hometown is I do a lot of home visits, and because I'm from here and I have relationships with folks in the county, and where I have been here for a long time, they don't see me as somebody that's coming to lay the hammer down, or to make sure court is the next step. It's actually they see me as somebody that's coming to be able to help, and to be able to help them
Right.
solve problems and remove barriers. And if there is something there, find out what we can do to help. And so that's the biggest part of my job. I really love that. I love the opportunity to go out and to see folks, and to see what we can do as a school district to better serve our kids and families.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And the fact that they know you and that you have this community sense, I have a feeling it makes your job a little bit easier, maybe?
It is. And so, I became an elementary principal at a small school. We had about 400 students. It was Camp Dick Robinson Elementary, a little over 400. And it was about 3 miles from my house. It was about 2 miles from my church. And it was about a mile from the store, which we use all the time. So for me, it's never been a profession. It's just been a lifestyle because,
Lifestyle.
that's just kind of who we are. And, I have folks that we talk to all the time. And so I've never seen it as a job to where I have to get up and go and then I clock in or clock out, because my next door neighbors had two students that were best friends with my daughter that went to school with us. And across the street from where I live were students. And then all the people at church that I went. So those are all folks. So it was a lifestyle and it still is. And so that's the way I look at it is I'm ingrained and I want to make sure that all of these folks around here know that we're here for them, we're here for their families, we're here for their kids, but we want to make it easier for them and make the school experience something that they can remember forever. Obviously, we
Yeah.
want them to get a fantastic education from K-12 or pre-K-12. However, there's even more to that, so we want to make sure that they have a great experience, the parents have a great experience, and they see us as teammates and not an adversarial type of situation.
Right. Yeah, it's certainly easier to get children and parents to send their kids to school if they feel like they're a part of the team, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt. So I always told our teachers, and we talked about this all the time, and we still talk about this to this day. Every person you come in contact with in school, whether it's a student, a parent, or a coworker, there's an emotional bank account that you have to be aware of, and you continually have to make sure you're depositing into this emotional bank account because there's going to be times, unfortunately, where you have to make withdrawals. And just like any other bank account, if you write a check and don't have any money in there, it's going to cause some heartache. And so
Yeah,
if you haven't, if
exactly.
you haven't had enough, deposits into that emotional bank account, then it's going to cause some heartache. So just seeing these kids and smiling at them and calling them by name and waving to parents and those kind of things, even if you don't say anything, just a good smile and a wave, and that's a deposit. And they know that when they see you in the mornings opening the door for their kids to get out, and they're the first thing you see and the last thing that the kids see when they leave and get back in the car with mom or on the school bus, they know that you love them. And so those are all
Yes.
deposits in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. 1000%. I agree with you. And knowing that you have this community, knowing that you care, knowing that they feel that. So what do you say, what would you say, and I don't want to just say COVID because there's lots of, but I know there's been challenges that kind of have lingered, but also what are just some of your biggest challenges today? I mean, we've got AI, we've got computers and phones and a million different things and social emotional issues. What are your guys' biggest challenges?
So it's funny you brought up COVID. So this is not, COVID was not completely bad because we were able to do something like we are today because of COVID. Normally, there wasn't a lot of team meetings. There wasn't a lot of virtual stuff that was going on. But, so we were able to get that out of COVID. However, one of the things that hurt us as a small district, and it's hurt education, nationwide, has been the uptick now of homeschool. And it's not that homeschool's a good thing, bad thing, or whatever. It's just there's other options now. And so we have to, as a district, we have to make sure that we are selling our kids and our families on the great things that we can provide educationally and non-educationally, and what we can do social emotional, from the special ed aspect, from the academic aspect, from extracurricular aspects, all of those things. It's continuing to be an issue throughout the nation because homeschool has rose somewhere around the 400% since COVID. We're trying to continue to sell our folks on why they should come here, and why it's so important. And I understand. We completely want the parents to do what they feel is best for their children. However, we want them to know what we can offer them and what we want to do for them. And so that has been a little bit of an issue because our enrollment has dipped, and it's the ebb and flow of normal. But we have seen quite a dip, more so than we would really like to see.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I want to touch a little bit on what you said. Schools are having to market
You
themselves
are. Completely.
much more than, I mean, and I love the fact that we've got Brighter Together, and it can be a marketing tool. I mean, it is. Let's call a spade a spade. That's my mama's saying. But
That's right.
that's something that I've noticed is just that it really, this is a way, this conversation, this Brighter Together is a way for Lighthouse to get its name out there. It's a way for schools to talk about the amazing things that they're doing.
Sure.
And used properly, it's advertisement.
That's exactly
Got the
right.
label, we've got the, the logo, but we've also give, and I think most people know, but we give everything that, all of these files, everything that we do here goes back to the schools. And
Right.
because we want you guys also to have the opportunity to use it, because you do have to
That's right.
market. You do have to talk about, we do have to talk about the different, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So,
That's right.
So having an opportunity to come and to talk with schools and to use this platform in a way that supports schools, put your money where your mouth is, because these are the people that are the paycheck and the beginning, the middle, and the end of what we do as a company, like
Right. That's right.
Lighthouse Therapy. So,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
love that. I
You're
love that we
exactly.
can do it.
No, you're exactly right. And I tell folks all the time, regardless of what you think, education is a business and it's a people business. We're in the
Yes,
business
people.
of people. And so what we're trying to do is to not tell somebody you have to send your kid to our district. What we're saying is we want you to. We would love for you to, because here's why. Well, first and foremost, we love your kids, and we're going to love on your kids just like their own. But here's other things that we've got that we can offer as well. And hopefully, another saying is actions speak louder than words, and so they can
Yes.
see that, they can feel that. We want them to, when they walk into our school, and when they walk into a school or a classroom or whatever it may be, that they don't have to hear somebody tell them it's a great school. They just know it. They feel it. They can sense it. They see smiles on kids' faces. They see smiles on teachers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, the folks that are on the front desk. So you just know it. And there's a culture and a climate, and I always call it the it factor. You can't describe it, but you can feel it, and you know it, and you
Yes.
know if it's there, but you also know, unfortunately, if it's not there. So those are always things that are possibilities. So we want to make sure that we're constantly working towards that goal.
There is a crisis in this country, a massive shortage of special education teachers. We know how devastating this can be for your students, families, and staff. Lighthouse Therapy places experienced special education teachers in virtual, hybrid, and on-site roles, and we handle everything from hiring to onboarding to mentorship. These aren't just placements, they're professionals who understand compliance, collaboration, and care. Let us help you fill in the gaps with special education teachers who really understand. We are here to help. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to connect with us today. So what would you say are some of your biggest wins? We've talked about the struggles. We've talked about how, so
Right.
let's talk about the it that you have.
Right. So I think our it and our wins are simply our people. Our the folks that we have truly want. I tell folks a lot of times we still are in a little bit of a bubble. Unfortunately, there's so many things in the world that's tough, and people. But in our small town, we're still in a little bit of a bubble, and our people are so great on loving on kids and just loving on families and giving them the help that they need. And so we always say our biggest wins are our folks, and and we truly believe that. And our superintendent is retiring now, and he's done a phenomenal job. And we've got a new superintendent coming in that's been in our district for a long time, and he does a phenomenal job of that. It's just making sure that our people are supported, because without them, again, back to the business, it's the people business. you got to have the right ones. And so we just feel so blessed to be able to do what we do, but to have the folks that we have, the kids, the families, the staff. That's kind of our biggest win, and our job at central office or as DPP is to support those folks and to make sure that, because they're on the front lines every day, and we talk to our bus drivers all the time. They're the first to see them and the last to see them, and our bus drivers take that so serious. They take it so personal, and because they're smiling and they're making sure at 6:45 in the morning that they're welcoming a kid up on the bus or whatever it may be. So we just feel like our biggest win are our people.
Yeah, and people definitely will create a culture and a feeling of positivity or negativity. They really will. They absolutely really will.
Ma'am.
I've always said, here, we mentor all of our therapists, and we always tell them there's no stupid question. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So make sure you ask the questions. And because of that, I'm like, I've said this many times too, is like, if your therapist, because our mission, Lighthouse's mission, is to be a therapy company run by therapists for therapists, but ultimately for the betterment of kids. Getting around my microphone there.
Right.
Just like you guys, you're there for the kids. This is why we do what we do. So if you have therapists and you have people that are happy, that are taken care of, that feel like the administration, or in my case, the front office cares and has their back and wants them to be successful, no matter what, that flows through. And the opposite is true. If your people are frustrated and don't feel like they have, and they're, even though we're all professionals, because we are, if you're unhappy in your job, a tiny bit of that, no matter how much of a professional you are, is going to seep through. And so we want happy people here, because happy people mean it goes to the kids. And kids, I don't know, I think kids have a sixth sense. They and
really
we as adults sometimes lose that. Yeah. And so
they really do.
So
Todd Whitaker, I'm sure you're familiar with him. He wrote many books about school culture. One of his famous sayings was, if a principal sneezes, the whole building catches a cold. And I believe that from the aspect of, they know. They know if you've had a tough day. They know, and so these kids, like you talked about, they know particularly, and they know that if you care about them, or they know if you're putting on, and so those are super important each and every day to make sure you show that to them.
Yeah, for sure. Kids, they just are, they're incredible. Animals are like kind of like that too. They're just like, if you're not, if you're not happy, if mama ain't happy, nobody ain't happy in the house.
What is going on? That's right.
What is going on? So taking care of them, making sure that they are, it's true. It's so true. What would you say is what does the next 5 years look like for you?
So for me personally, it's I'm on the back end of my career, and so for me personally, it's continuing to to do whatever is needed throughout the district. And what we want to do is we've talked about it. In education right now, to kind of back up just a little bit, we're preparing kids nowadays for jobs we don't even know exist yet. So we're trying to prepare them to be whatever it may be, and in 15 years they may be doing something, making huge amounts of money in a job we don't even know what it is. So for us,
or it doesn't even exist right now.
It doesn't exist yet.
That job, exactly.
And how do you do that? And so what we're trying to do is continually to show them the love and encouragement. However, to keep your head on a swivel, to figure out what's coming next and how can we better serve our kids, because the way that this district, as great as it was, the way it served me as a student in the 80s and 90s is not how they're serving, or we're serving my children or our kids in our district in 2026. And it won't be how we serve their children in 2045. So it's just continuing to figure out, what's next. How do we use that for the betterment of our kids? How do we use that for the betterment of our district? And just, again, trying to continue to do what we do extremely well, but then also having our eyes open to figure out what's coming down the pipe, what's really going to benefit our kids, and what's going to benefit our district, and then how can we better serve go in that direction. So it's always different. Again, I'm finishing 25 years, and not one year's ever been the same. I mean, even if it is something completely, the principal chooses how to change something, or the superintendent, or the State Department, or whatever it may be, there's always changes.
Yeah.
So just trying to figure out how we can continue to serve on the level in which we are, but also having our eyes open to see what's coming next.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes whether we want it to or not, I'm afraid, right?
That's
really
right.
AI is a big one. I can't believe how quickly I've been talking to people, because we're working on our own software for AI to help our therapists and to help our kids. And because it's propelled programming so far. I mean, like you're talking about something that would cost us $1 million before, and now I got 2 guys that work for me full time. Now they're not cheap guys, but that are working on it, and
right.
they're under my salary. It's not like I have to have this outside firm and all these programmers, and it's just I've been telling people as we've been talking about it that AI, I feel like AI, the feeling I get about AI is the same as I felt when we started. Now I'm 94. I'm a little bit older than you. Graduated from grad school in 94, and started my master's for my master's. And we were working. You have your clinical fellowship year as a speech therapist, and I was just starting to hear about the internet back then. Oh, have you heard about the internet? Have you heard about this thing? And I remember the first time going, oh, well, that wasn't all that great. Now it's like, how did we live without it, right?
Right.
So,
No, I mean, you're
think
exactly right.
it's gonna be, it's coming.
It's going to change, and
so fast. Yeah.
unless something drastically happens and machines and robots take over, we're always going to have people though, and the people are going to be
1,000%. Yeah.
constant. And so what I'm in a state organization for administrators, and we have a big conference every year. And so we were talking about what's coming next, and what can we do this, and what can we do that. And we were all going through it, and I spoke up and told them, I said, the thing we don't need to forget are the fundamentals. The fundamentals of what got us to where we are, and that's people, and that's soft skills, and that's the ability to write an email in a way that you don't act like you're screaming at somebody. That's the way to talk to an upset parent that is really upset about something that happens, and make them feel heard and supported, and having that conversation on the phone. And so those things are always going to be there, and we have to make sure that we don't lose sight of that going forward too, because regardless of how great technology is, and it's fantastic to a lot of aspects, however, people are still going to be there. And as long as people are around those soft skills and those fundamentals, I was an old basketball coach, and so I like to talk about fundamentals, but fundamentals in people skills are super important as well.
1,000%, I agree. The human factor, you cannot, a machine, they say that they can be more and more human, but there's just something. It's that same it you were talking about. It's like if you just that's not. Yeah, you just they try to fool you sometimes, but it's like that ain't a human. That ain't a real human.
No, you're right, and it's becoming more and more hard to determine with some videos you see and different things that are created, but you're still going to have to sit across the desk from somebody, or to carry on a conversation in certain aspects of every business, and so hopefully we can continue to to do those things well as we move forward.
Yeah, for sure. So, Scott, tell us where people would come if they wanted to learn a little bit more about you or what's happening at Garage.
Absolutely. So we are, again, we're a very small town and a very small district just south of Lexington. Garrett is spelled Garrard, and our website is garrett.kyschools.us. Feel free to come and look us up, check us out. I think we have a phenomenal district. You're always welcome to email me. me. My email is my first name dot last name at garrett.kyschools.us. Would love to talk to you about anything that you could possibly have any questions about. And again, we've got all of the social media platforms that are out there because we want to celebrate our kids, and we want to celebrate our folks, and that's what we love doing most of all. But any way we can ever help, again, it's a huge partnership. So although we're in Kentucky, if there's one in California and New York and Florida, and we're all in this together. I mean, it's a tough deal, and we want to make sure that everybody throughout the nation is continuing to give the best platform for our kids to be successful. And any way that I can learn from you, I want to. Any way that I can ever help, I want to. But folks like you, Miss Janet, and what you guys do with Brighter Together is phenomenal, because there are things now that kids have more needs, and not that they didn't have needs years ago, but now they're more specific, and we have to figure out how to help kids in all kinds of different angles. And so I appreciate folks like you guys that are reaching out to families and schools and offering resources, ultimately for the bottom line for the kids. So thank you for all you guys do.
Yeah, just keep the kids in the center of everything you do, and
Yes,
in this industry of education, and the rest of it comes. I've always told people that the rest of it just comes. You just be honest.
That's
with
exactly
people
right.
And tell the truth. Yeah,
That's exactly
can
right.
Sniff out that fakey.
Yeah. And they know. I mean, they know. And so when you get up, and we just had graduation last Friday night, and so I was able to to see all the graduates, and a lot of those graduates I had as elementary school students, and they still come up and they're wanting to give me a hug and they're wanting to talk, and and some of those kids that are graduating, we had some really hard situations to deal with growing up, and man, they are just. They don't come up and tell you like thank you or come, but giving them that hug and wanting to see how proud you are of them. That just warms your heart, and to know that they're going off to great things, whether that's to be any whatever it may be, but they're going off to great things. And so those are the things that educators we get to hopefully get to see, and to see these kids. And we've got folks that are my former students that are back teaching now and are doing other things, and just to see them, and the good Lord continues to bless you, and to be able to do those kind of things. But there was many times, Miss Janet, when I was in high school, my teachers would have told you that guy's never going to be a high school teacher, more or less anything else. But I tell people I used to have, the reason I was a principal is I had the most practice growing up, because I knew how it all operated.
You were in that office more than others?
I was in the office all the time, but it wasn't because I was in trouble. I just wanted, if I could ever get out of the classroom, I wanted to go up and just talk to somebody. So my principal was phenomenal. Gotcha. So he and I would hang out, and so those were good times. But yeah, it's a great profession. We're very blessed to be able to do what we get to do.
Yeah. 1,000%. I love that so much. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. That's exactly it. The people that get this, it's what we, it's not, and I love how you said that we get to do this. It's not like we have to. It's not like a job. Those people that are in education where it's a job, you can tell, it's like, I'm here to collect a paycheck, but that there are so few of them, because the paycheck isn't the end of the story for sure.
That's right. So, it's not. And it's those things, it's those extra things, like those relationships and those opportunities, and the many things that you can go back. And, I think back to my schooling and my favorite teachers, and I can't tell you, whoever it was as my favorite teacher wasn't because they had the most precise lesson plan or because they gave the most rigorous test. They were my favorite teachers because they cared about me. They were my favorite teachers because they were engaging about what I had going on in my life. They were my favorite teachers because they showed interest in me. And so that's what I tell folks when we hired teachers at my elementary school. A lot of not a lot of times, all the time, I would never ask the person that we were interviewing really anything about teaching, because most of the time there's people in our school that could help you to teach you what you need to know. What we would ask was, Do you have energy? Are you empathetic? Do kids, tell us about situations where you've handled tough situations? What's your communication strategies? If I walk into your classroom, what's it going to look like? Because what's it going to feel like? Because the interpersonal part is what you have a harder time teaching. And so you either have the and that's what we were hiring for. So we've got professionals that can always help the teaching aspect. But I wanted to know that you loved kids. And if we hired somebody that loved kids, we weren't going to go wrong.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. 100%. All right. Well, Scott, it has been a pleasure to have you
Oh,
on
thank you, Miss
Brighter
Janet. I
together.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah,
keep up what you're doing. Keep it up.
thank you so much.
And we will keep doing what we're doing, and all will be better for it. So,
Well,
God
we
bless you,
appreciate all
and
you
have
guys do.
enjoy the summer. Yeah, enjoy the summer.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, Miss
Yeah.
Janet. You all have a fantastic summer. In any way we can ever help in Garrett County, Kentucky, let us know.